Tonight, we're peeling back the curtain on a story that has captivated the digital world for over a decade, but the headlines you've seen only tell half the truth. Imagine being only 8 years old and standing before a global audience, barefoot and fragile, only to unleash a voice that felt like it was unearthed from the 1920s. Angelina Jordan didn't just win a talent competition in Norway. She became a haunting mystery that the music industry didn't know how to categorize. For years, viral clips of her soul-stirring performances dominated our feeds, but then, the trail went cold. As we move through 2026, many are asking if the industry machine tried to silence a talent it couldn't control, or if Angelina was strategically waiting for the right moment to reclaim her narrative. What happened behind closed doors during those quiet years is finally coming to light, and the details are as shocking as the voice that started it all. This isn't just a story about a singer. It's an investigation into a global enigma who refused to be just another disposable child star. Behind the glamorous stages and flashing lights lies a secret kept in the dirt of the streets. To understand the Angelina Jordan of 2026, you have to look at her feet. It's a detail most fans dismiss as a stylistic choice, but our investigation reveals a much heavier burden. When Angelina was just 6 years old, traveling in the Middle East, she encountered a young girl on the street, homeless, shoeless, and forgotten. In a move that defined her character before she ever held a microphone, Angelina gave her own shoes to that girl. That encounter ended with a vow. Angelina promised she would never wear shoes on stage as long as there were children in the world suffering in poverty. This wasn't a marketing stunt devised by a PR team. It was a child's pact with the universe. Throughout her rise to fame, from Norway to the world stage, she maintained this barefoot vow, often performing on cold, hard stages that would make a seasoned pro uncomfortable. It's a physical reminder of the empathy that fuels her jazz-inflected vocals. While the industry tried to dress her in high-end fashion and platform heels, she stood her ground, literally. This refusal to conform to the pop princess image started a quiet war with stylists and executives early on. They wanted a product they could polish, but Angelina was tethered to a promise made on a dusty street years ago. This grounded nature is exactly what made her transition into 2026 so jarring for those who expected her to grow out of her convictions. But as she matured, the pressure to trade her bare feet for red carpets only intensified, leading to the first cracks in her relationship with the big label machine. But that wasn't the whole story, because while she was winning hearts, the suits were looking at the bottom line. While the world waited for a debut album, a silent battle for the soul of an artist was being waged in the shadows of a corporate boardroom. After her stunning America's Got Talent performance, Angelina was the most sought-after signature in Hollywood. She eventually landed at Republic Records, the titan behind names like Taylor Swift. On paper, it was the perfect match, but sources close to the production indicate a massive disconnect. The label allegedly wanted the next big pop hit, something with heavy synthesizers and TikTok-friendly hooks. Angelina, however, was an old soul trapped in a young body, yearning to record timeless jazz and blues. For nearly 3 years, the releases were sporadic. Rumors began to surface that she was being shelved, a term used when a label holds an artist's music hostage because it doesn't fit a specific commercial mold. Fans were left in the dark, wondering why the most talented vocalist of her generation was suddenly making more headlines for her cover songs than original hits. We've looked into the creative differences that plagued this era, and it appears Angelina was facing a choice: sacrifice her artistic identity for a radio hit or wait out the storm. This period of silence wasn't a lack of productivity, it was a fortress of protection. She was reportedly writing hundreds of songs in her bedroom in Los Angeles, refusing to let the industry auto-tune her spirit. The disappearance of Angelina Jordan wasn't an accident. It was a strategic withdrawal. She chose to stay quiet rather than contribute to the noise of a genre she didn't believe in. But as 2026 approached, the whispers of her demise were silenced by a sudden, calculated move that would change the trajectory of her career forever. and what happened next would shock even her most cynical critics. The bright lights of the desert were supposed to be the graveyard of child stars, but for Angelina, they became a battlefield for her rebirth. On January 31, 2026, the Westgate Las Vegas witnessed something the music world wasn't prepared for. This wasn't the little girl from the viral videos. This was a 20-year-old titan. The 2026 performance was a masterclass in rebranding. Reports from the night describe an atmosphere that was more like a religious experience than a pop concert. She debuted tracks from her new project, Secret of the Soul, an album that many industry insiders thought would never see the light of day. Our investigation shows that Angelina spent the better part of 2025 dismantling the old structures of her career to ensure this 2026 launch was on her terms. The sound was raw, orchestral, and completely devoid of the overproduced sheen that dominates the charts today. She wasn't just singing songs, she was telling the story of her own survival through the industry meat grinder. The Vegas show proved that her fan base hadn't moved on, they had grown up with her. The ticket sales shattered expectations for a jazz artist in a modern market, sending a clear message to the labels that had doubted her: authenticity still sells. But the Vegas show was only the tip of the iceberg. Behind the scenes, she had aligned herself with a legendary figure who was willing to bet everything on her unpop sound. This partnership was the final piece of the puzzle that the industry hadn't seen coming. Behind every great voice is a mentor, but Angelina's choice of partner revealed exactly how high she was aiming. For years, people wondered who could possibly handle a talent as volatile and pure as Angelina's. Enter Toby Gad. For the uninitiated, Gad is the man responsible for some of the biggest vocal anthems in history, including John Legend's All of Me. But his work with Angelina in 2026 is being described as something entirely different. Sources tell us that Gad didn't try to change her, he built a sonic cathedral around her. They spent months in the studio, often working late into the night to capture the perfect vocal take, no pitch correction, no shortcuts. This collaboration is what allowed her to break free from the YouTube cover artist label. The 2026 music we're hearing now is the result of a mentor-student relationship that prioritized the art over the algorithm. Rumors had previously suggested that Angelina was difficult to work with, but our reports indicate she was simply protective of her gift. Gad reportedly told colleagues that she is the most disciplined artist he's ever seen, often spending hours on a single phrasing to get the emotional resonance right. This level of perfectionism is rare in 2026, where music is often treated like fast food. By choosing Gad, Angelina sent a signal. She wasn't looking for a summer hit, she was looking for a legacy. This partnership was the catalyst for the new Angelina, a version of the artist that finally felt comfortable in her own skin. Yet, even with a legendary producer in her corner, the ghosts of the child star curse were still lurking in the background. We've seen this story end in tragedy 1,000 times before, but Angelina Jordan seems to be rewriting the final chapter. History is littered with the names of young talents who were chewed up and spat out by the fame machine. From legal battles to personal collapses, the curse is a well-documented phenomenon. Many expected Angelina to follow that same dark path, especially after her early fame at age 8. But as we look at her life in 2026, the contrast is startling. She hasn't been spotted in the typical scandal circles of Hollywood. Our investigation into her inner circle reveals a tightly knit family unit that has acted as a shield against the darker elements of the industry. Her mother and sister have been her constant shadows, ensuring that Angelina the person wasn't sacrificed for Angelina the brand. While other stars were out making headlines for their off-camera antics, Angelina was reportedly reading philosophy and practicing her craft. There were whispers of a burnout during her late teens, but it appears that was actually a period of intentional rest. She understood that to survive 2026, she had to stay grounded. This level of maturity is what has allowed her to navigate the transition into adulthood without the usual public meltdowns. She avoided the criminal accusations and substance issues that have plagued so many of her peers by simply removing herself from the toxic environments that breed them. She proved that you can be a global superstar without selling your soul to the tabloids. But the journey isn't over yet, and the biggest challenge of her career is still waiting on the horizon. With a new album in hand and the world at her feet, the 2026 European tour is being hailed as the final test of her global dominance. As we look toward the remainder of 2026, the buzz surrounding Angelina's upcoming tour is reaching a fever pitch. This isn't just a series of concerts, it's a victory lap. From London to Oslo, the venues are selling out in minutes. This tour is expected to be a high-production affair, but rumors suggest she's keeping the core of the show intimate. Just her, a piano, and that unmistakable voice. Music analysts are predicting that 2026 will be the year Angelina Jordan officially transitions from a niche jazz singer to a global icon. There is even speculation about a major documentary being filmed throughout the tour, documenting her journey from the streets of Norway to the heights of the charts. The stakes couldn't be higher. If the tour succeeds, she will have accomplished the impossible, staying relevant for over a decade while never compromising her sound. But there are still those who wonder if the pressure of a global tour will finally crack the mysterious exterior she's built. Will she finally step into the shoes the world has been trying to put on her for years, or will she continue to walk her own path? The industry is watching, the fans are waiting, and the music world is about to find out if Angelina Jordan is truly the once-in-a-century talent we all hoped she was. In an era of 2026 where artificial intelligence and synthetic voices are starting to dominate the airwaves, Angelina Jordan stands as a defiant relic of the human spirit. She is a reminder that you can't manufacture soul, and you can't rush greatness. Her story is one of patience, empathy, and a refusal to let the world define her before she was ready to define herself. Whether she's performing for royalty or standing barefoot on a Las Vegas stage, her mission remains the same as it was when she was 6 years old. As she continues her 2026 journey, one thing is certain. The girl who gave her shoes away has finally found her footing. It leaves us to wonder, in a world that constantly demands we change to fit in, are we brave enough to stand as firmly as Angelina has? Only time will tell if her 2026 album will be the masterpiece fans expect. But for now, the voice is back, and it's louder than ever.